Hey friends, this is Justin. Before the episode begins, I just want to let you know there is no video component to the episode this week. I had some technical difficulties that I didn't realize until 28 minutes into the episode. Once I finished, I realized that only 28 minutes recorded, and then my phone decided to do its own thing. So enjoy the audio though. I'm going to create some visual elements to go with it for social media, but this is audio only this week. I look forward to you all seeing my beautiful face next week. Okay, bye. What if I told you that the very thing you've been running from, loneliness, might actually be your greatest creative ally? We've been conditioned to see alone time as something to fix, cure, or escape from, but what if we've had it completely backwards? Today, we're flipping the script on loneliness and discovering its hidden power. This isn't about being antisocial or avoiding connection. It's about reclaiming the power of intentional solitude. We're going to explore why silence isn't empty but full of possibility, how to put your self worth back in your own hands instead of other people's approval, and practical ways to use alone time as your secret weapon for creativity and mental health. So let's dive in and adjust your relationship with loneliness. Welcome to Adjusting. Welcome to Adjusting, a safe space for candid conversations about mental health and well-being with your host, Justin G. Nelson. Whether you're recovering from trauma, redefining your purpose, managing mental health, or simply craving more authenticity, this show is for you. I hope something resonates with you and helps you on your own personal journey. So sit back, relax, and let's start adjusting. And we're back with another episode of Adjusting Podcast with your host, Justin G. Nelson. Y'all, this episode, a friend of mine sent me a video from Instagram, and I was just like, now that is a topic to talk about. Adjusting to loneliness. And I love what I've gathered here. So I hope you do too. Also, hi, if you are new to this platform and this is your first episode you've listened to, thank you. Thank you. I'm proud of you. I am proud of you for wanting to figure out how you can adjust to loneliness, because I'm jumping ahead, but so many times we equate loneliness to something negative, and we're going to shift that perspective this episode. So thank you for tuning in. Also, thank you to TJ with TJ podcast for doing the editing. His season 4 is looking good, y'all. It's coming soon. It's looking good. He's launched his Substack channel. Listen, proud of you, TJ. It looks good. Also, if you would like to support me in my other platforms, you can do so by following my vegan wellness brand, which is Earthy and Cultured. My branding and marketing company, which is Type J Marketing. You can follow me as a creative as I pursue my performance career, as I journey to Broadway and TV and film with @JustinG.Nelson. So that's on Instagram and every other platform. Also, if you like books, you can follow me on TikTok. I talk about romance books and things like that. Also, be sure to subscribe to my Substack channel as well, where I have adjusted perspectives, which is an outline of the episode, but a more in-depth version of it that gives you more things. And think of this as like your notes from the episode. Also, adjusted affirmations will be releasing next week, and you'll get 2 for in the month of August. I still haven't figured out the themes yet, but I'll let the Lord guide me on that. I think that's it. So make sure y'all are, subscribing and sharing and following and liking and all those things, because that really helps us podcasters. Okay. All right. So before we jump into adjusting to loneliness, I want to invite you to take this sacred breath with me. We're still doing the breath of, no, the centering breath with the 4-7-8 breathing, not the breath of fire. That's something totally different. So if you're driving, focus on that. The episode will be here. We need you here as well. So focus on driving. If you are in a space where you can take this breath, I invite you to relax your feet, really ground them on the floor, relax your calf muscles, your knees, your thighs. Kind of rub your hand on your thighs to wake that up. Relax your hips, your stomach, your chest, your shoulders, your neck, your chin, your cheeks, your forehead. Close your eyes. You put a hand on your heart and a hand on your stomach. And we're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 7, and release on us for 8. Ready? And breathe in 2, 3, 4, hold it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let it all out. Y'all, my left eye is in its own world. So if you see some tears falling, I am not emotional. Allergies, okay? One more time. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Great job. Oh, there it is. All right. So let's jump in. So today, like I said, we're talking about adjusting to loneliness. So unpacking our fear with loneliness is what we're going to talk about. We're going to address the misconception of loneliness, starting with the cultural programming we've all received. So, the time we were kids, society told us that loneliness equals or is equated to being broken or being a loner or antisocial or not popular or depressed or emo. Like all those things, even unsuccessful, has been equated to loneliness. So, childhood, it's, we're always said go play with others instead of spending time exploring what it is you like. And I think for my generation, yes, for this new generation, they have found space. It's shifted a little bit. Like they do a lot of streaming, video games, but they have community in which they do it in. And then there's a social media aspect where you have FOMO, like what's this the concept, it was the you ought to be here trend that was going, or you should be here with the blue signs. I think that was still like a pyramid scheme, but you know, we have now this nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday. You can say 50 pounds per person. Like that's a thing now. And then the creative myth as it relates to you only have inspiration in collaboration. And while I do agree that community sparks a new sense of creative expression and you're able to thrive in community, you can't really know who your community is until you know who you are singularly, like by yourself, because then you can identify, oh, these people amplify great parts of me, not these people make me feel insecure. So, like, there is a step that happens from self to community. And then when you are in this space of like loneliness, it comes from this exhaustion cycle. We're caught up in always having to be on for others, which leaves us in a space of depletion where we have no room for self-discovery. Like we're always on. We're just, oh, this person, like, let me, really turn it up. Or I'm at work, so I really have to like make sure I'm taking care of myself and the next person and my boss. Like, how can I get my work done if I got to do y'all job? There's no room for me to discover other things that I can do to grow the brand and the business. And then there's again this grind culture where success means you're always working, you're always on your grind, and if you're not doing that, that means you're lazy and you're a failure. And someone else said on TikTok, like in those moments of silence and the moments of rest, your mind is able to slow down and new thoughts, thoughts are able to replenish that space, and you can come out more rejuvenated and with a sense of self and purpose. So like we're gonna restructure how we look at loneliness, okay? Because the culture, society has really messed us up, okay? Now, where we've outsourced our self worth, oftentimes, okay, church, oftentimes we give so much of ourself to others in ways we don't realize it. We seek approval. And I'm guilty of a lot of these. We seek approval from a lot of people or a lot of spaces or even social media. Like if we post something and it doesn't get the likes, shares, and comments that we thought, or the engagement isn't on and popping, we don't think it's necessary. The other day, I posted two very long captions. Very long. Like they were longer than I anticipated, but it was a lot of things I wanted to get out of my head. And number one was about the retrograde period we're in. And if you know me, you know I believe in the power of a Mercury retrograde, okay? Because I've broken up with a lot of exes during a retrograde, okay? Love, don't play with me during a retrograde. But there are like four planets and two asteroids, or what they call them, smaller planets that are in retrograde. And I just wanted to share with people, what's going on and what you might be feeling in this season. And a lot of people are just like, man, I don't believe in that stuff, man. But why does all of this apply to you? It's something got to be right. So anyway, all that to say, like I shared it, and I shared it without expectation. I shared it because I thought it was valuable, and the people that needed to see it would see it. A lot of people saw it, and it sparked so many conversations. I was like, okay, listen, I'm proud of me. I did that. But then there are also identity crutches for everyday people. You have work meetings, you have social obligations, and your family demands become how you measure your worth. If people aren't calling you up, if everyone isn't depending on you, if the work meetings don't circle around you and your concepts and your ideas, or you're not out at all the events, you feel like, well, shit, like what? Am I valuable? Like am I the problem? Do I need a new group of people? No, baby, you need to embrace being by yourself. And then there's a validation cycle, constantly seeking external confirmation instead of internal knowing. Performance pressure, always being on instead of just being authentic. Be yourself and let everyone else adjust. When you try to be on, you forget who you are. And I know so many people, especially celebrities, you think because they're on, they're just like, oh, they're like, they're exhausted. Some of them are struggling. And then for my performance people, we deal with always being on because we never know who we're talking to. And so sometimes we have, Lord, sometimes we have to walk around as if we are our resume. I don't like those people. So I used to be like, well, yeah, I did this show and I got, trust me, I am more than my resume. I did this, but I'm also working on this. And a young man, he was in Hamilton, I think on the Philip tour or something. He posted a picture and he was just like, artists, like how many of us are creating our own work outside of the theater? Because this industry, we don't know what's coming. Like it was one thing to see the same people get cast over and over again. But it's like right now, y'all, it's like it's in a constant spin cycle. And once the season is dry, they just add some water and spin it again. And the same people. And I'm just like, I get it. Like kudos to you. Y'all have found that part of the industry or the time in the industry where you can really reproduce work, but like other people, hi me, would like to get in on the fun. So those are ways that we outsource our self-worth. But I want to really talk about loneliness versus internal solitude and the important distinction between the two. So loneliness is the feeling of disconnection even in a crowded room. Okay, you can be in the room, me, you can be in a room and you still feel lonely. You don't feel like you belong, you feel out of place, your social battery has ran out, like those things. Internal solitude is choosing to be alone for growth, creativity, and self discipline. Ha, that's where I am. I choose to be alone because sometimes I understand that the energy in the room is created by energy vultures or people who are on that are looking to find a way to turn you off so that they can shine brighter, so that they can get your ideas and your concepts and your creativity and really be just like, oh, well, Justin was talking about this, so I think I'm going to look into this too. Baby, this was nowhere near your head. And now that I don't open my mouth thinking I'm in a space where I can express myself, you don't because now you have more resources, more time, more technology, and things to really cultivate or grow the idea that I gave you. Now you're running with it. That's why I stay to myself, okay? But then there's the aspect of quality over quantity. It's better to have meaningful alone time than empty social interactions. And I want to say this, okay? You can quote me on this if you watch it up to this point or you're listening to it up to this point. You can text me or you can put it on Instagram. You don't owe everyone your presence. It should be a privilege for you to be, no, it should be a privilege for them to be in your space. One more time. You don't owe everyone your presence. It should be a privilege for them to be in your space. That goes for partners, people you're dating, coworkers, social interactions, whatever. When you walk in a space, it's because you want to be there. And people should be happy that you're there. Okay, great. Choose you. Yeah, choose you. That's where that ends up. And then there's also the aspect of trauma because I want to make sure like we keep the mental health things rolling. So like the trauma connection, why some of us fear being alone. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this because I know this might be a trigger. So tread lightly. Abandonment wounds. Some of us equate this to being unsafe. So your nervous system has learned that being alone means being unsafe. Hypervigilance patterns. Always needing someone around because your body doesn't trust quiet moments. I know someone like this. I don't remember who it is, but that's heavy. This could probably also be why so many people stay in relationships, not because they love the person, but because that person is kind of rewiring their hypervigilance pattern. Mm, I'm gonna write that down. I talked to my therapist about that. The inner child factor, that little version of you who learned that isolation was punishment. And then we have survival mechanisms. This is for staying busy became a way for you to avoid feelings or memories. And I have a friend, I do know who this is. And I'm guilty of it sometimes, like us workaholics. And I always equate it to trauma. I'm just like, we often stay busy or find things to do to keep our mind off of things. That's trauma, y'all. I know some people who have lost a loved one and will drown themselves in work in order to avoid having to process their emotions. And I'm just like, hey, pause. You will never be able to fully heal and really get back to who you are until you deal with it. Sit with it. Sorry, it's getting a little deep. And then, The last aspect of the trauma connection is the re-traumatization of fears when being alone triggers old wounds of neglect and abandonment. So these are like really common mental health uh, concerns as it relates to trauma and loneliness that a lot of people, when you like look at this episode, just like, yeah, this is where I am. Stay with me though. We're addressing these things as it relates to loneliness. Because I often love to build episodes around inner child, current me, and future self. I do want to pause and talk a little about how the inner child wound shows up in our relationships with solitude. Okay, so your inner child has a lot to say about being alone. Most of it isn't pretty. One thing that comes up: if I'm alone, I must be bad. A lot of kids who in school, if they were left alone or told other students, just like, that teachers didn't say stay away from them. When they partnered students, they had a way of partnering them with people um, who either needed improvement or they knew they would work well together. I was always partnered with the bad kids though, and we became good friends. Listen, be friends with bullies, okay? They ain't gonna bully you, but they will have your back. Okay, that's the life lesson I learned, trust me. But messages from childhood about isolation as punishment. Another thing is I need constant validation. A wounded child who never learned their inherent worth. Quiet means danger when your nervous system associates silence with threat or neglect. I don't know how to self soothe. The people pleasing connection and fear of what comes up. This is common when alone time means confronting buried emotions or memories. That's why I always say, like, have something playing. Like, it doesn't have to be sitting in silence. It doesn't have to be you sitting in silence. You can have those low vibration of music playing. This way, it's either resonating with a chakra that might be out of alignment with the frequencies we talked about in last week's episode. So if you are alone and your like stomach is hurting, play something that connects with the sacral chakra or the solar plexus chakra. If you may have a headache or just like a lot of chatter in your head, play something that connects with the crown chakra. Like these are ways to really rewire the neuroplasticity as it relates to trauma and loneliness, and you're able to really rewire so that when you are alone, you don't have those moments of just like, I'm not doing enough, I'm not worthy, I'm I have so many unresolved things that I will never really be loved or be healed or find my purpose. Like, really use that frequency that I talked about last week to really get through those inner child wounds. So now we're going to move. We're going to shift. That was a lot. We're going to shift to adjusting and reframing silence as power. We love a silent march. We love a silent disco party. We love silence when it comes to your sacred prayer. And just like sometimes we sit in silence to show respect, how about sitting in silence to show respect to yourself? We have a moment of silence to honor those who have fallen. Let's have a moment of silence to honor your past self for what it did. Amen. Great. So silence isn't empty, it's an invitation. Yeah. Here's where we completely flip the narrative of the story. Not vacant space. It's I love this. It's ground. It's remember we talked about adjusting your garden. Okay. And so in that garden, we're planting new seeds. You might be in a season where the ground is fertile, healthy. You've been doing the work. You've been setting your boundaries. You've been watering with the tears and the pain, but also the sweat and the excitement, like all those things. This vacant space, or this not vacant space that you've created in the silence, is that fertile ground that is giving you the opportunity for something to grow. The chatter is gone. It's just you and your future self, like, this is what I want to see. And this is where that the real work happens. When it comes to frequency, we talked about that just a few seconds ago, and then last week, when you quiet the external noise, you can hear the frequencies that relate and connect to your future self. There are, allegedly, I don't study sounds and things like that, but there are chakras and frequencies that go beyond the crown chakra. I think there's like 9, 10, and 11, like really higher self. Think of those sounds. Like, you can see vibrations, you can see and feel those things. Those really happen when you are really grounded and you can turn off that external noise. For my creatives, breakthrough ideas don't come when you're busy. They come in quiet moments when your mind has space to wander. Sometimes I sit in my apartment or my bedroom and I just sit in silence, lights off, and I just go, wow, that would be a great idea. Or, what if like today, I had everything squared away for section 3, and I was just like, mm, I need to talk about this. Sometimes we say it was a download. And I'm just like, oh, I got a download from my ancestor. I got a download from God, or a message from God. So, like, clearing the noise and making space for the silence also allows your mind opportunities to hear from God or hear from your ancestors and really connect with your higher self. I just love it. We listen. If you don't feel good by the end of this episode, you need to listen to it. That's why you can listen to it again and again. Connection over stimulation. Real inspiration comes from internal connection, not external bombardment. And the last thing, mental health perspective of it all, is silence becomes a container. Remember that? Adjusting your container. Silence becomes a container for healing rather than to avoid fear. Now, here are some gifts as it relates to intentional solitude. First, make sure ain't nobody around. Okay, this is just me and you talking, safe space time. When was the last time you had a conversation just with yourself? No scrolling, no listening to music, nothing. Just you and yourself. When was the last time you did that? We're often told, why are you talking to yourself? Listen, I had the best conversations with myself. Ain't no wrong with that. Okay, I know me. Learning to trust your inner voice over external opinions and social pressure. Recognizing your authentic desires versus keeping up with what's trending. Because, man, okay. Sometimes your thoughts, your voice, what you need to share because of the silence and the what you deem as loneliness, sometimes your voice can shift the trends and make people go, ooh, why have I never thought? Where has that been? How did you come up with that? You can be a trendsetter from your silence. You're welcome. Yeah, I like that. And the difference between your thoughts and others' thoughts, when you are alone or you're set apart, you can actually tell them apart. Okay. Solitude can become a space where you learn to self-regulate and self-soothe. So let's add solitude and intentional solitude to our vision board for the rest of this year. This is your sign. This is your sign. I'm giving you a sign. I'm giving you a hall pass to be selfish. Be selfish. A lot of times we quote selfishness or ego or boasting about our gifts and talents and our skills from a place of being egotistical or narcissistic, or we like to do a humble brag. But there are so many trends right now and people are talking about it in the health space. Like, brag on yourself, let people know you're the shit, because if you don't, nobody else will. I mean, like your parents, like my daughter is really great, right? But you have to own who you are. And sometimes you won't get to that place until you sat with it. And I've had some aha moments. I've had, listen, even doing this podcast, I'm just like, I deserve to be here. I deserve to share my perspective on a lot of topics as it relates to loneliness or love or my view of Christianity or my spiritual practice. I think I'm mature enough. I lived enough. Your lived experiences are worthy of being shared. And you never know who else relates to what you have to share. Because some people are dealing with the chatter and the opinions of either tradition or trauma or anything else that is suppressing them. And they need you and your voice to break that negative sense of silence to help them go, I'm not crazy. Yeah. I am jumping all over the place. This is why I need an outline, y'all. I'm sorry. But give yourself permission to be selfish. Redefining the word. I want to help you think about it. So it's not selfishness, it's self preservation. That's a quote that will be on Instagram. Remember, I may have talked about this like adjusting your cup, Pacific Cup Studios. Remember my studio? Yeah. The empty cup reality is you can't pour from an empty cup. That's a common thing. Everyone's talking about it. And you can't know what's in your cup without looking. That's the piece of the puzzle we never connect. So again, you can't pour from an empty cup and you can't know what's in your cup without looking. So you know the cup is empty. You know how low it is, but we have to go, I need to fill myself up. I knew it was low, but I didn't know it was this low. Like I'm closer to E. Like I'm running on fumes at this point. Putting yourself first, especially, oh my God, especially as caregivers and people pleasers. This is for the generation that came before us who had to sacrifice so much of their time, talent, treasure, energy, had to put their dreams on hold, had to forfeit the life they wanted because they had to take care of other people. To that I say, I am sorry. And I pray that you can break out of that and use the time you have left to experience the life you've always dreamed of. It is never too late. Society puts a name and a time limit on things to make it marketable. But I challenge you today to live and to find the joy and find those things. If you wanted to be a dancer, go dance. There's some adult dance classes out there. If you want to sing, pick up a mic. You might not sound good. But I want you to sing again. Okay. And sometimes being selfish is literally a survival strategy for your mental wellness. Be selfish. That might be on a t-shirt. Now, I want to talk about returning to your core and your why. I'm always talking about like what keeps you driving, what keeps you moving, what keeps you excited, what gets you out of bed in the morning. Alone time brings you back to your core, stripping away external expectations. This will help you find your motivation again. Reconnect it with buried values that may have gotten lost up under the need to be on or the daily obligations that comes with just surviving. Like this administration, baby, some of us are just like, you know what? Some of these things got to be on pause because I don't know what's going to happen next. A lot of people lost their job when they had their vision board set up. They didn't envision this fool in the office coming in and shaking the table. For my creatives, find your authentic voice again. Not the one that gets the most engagement, but the one that keeps you thriving. The one that you just like, this is who I am. This is who I'm meant to be. This is why I do what I do. Find that voice, okay, and use it. When you're quiet, you can actually hear your internal navigation system. This is the compass that's inside. That magnet that pulls you to the community you need to be in, the space you need to be in, or pulls you to a space that doesn't have life that you can spark a flame in. Solitude gives you space to integrate therapeutic work and emotional processing. So here's something beautiful that happens when your senses wake up: heightened awareness, the reset power, focus is enhanced, fresh ideas emerge, and the nervous system is regulated. Your body can actually relax when it's not consistently reading social cues. Mm. Y'all feeling good? I'm feeling great. Okay. And for my parents, if any parents are listening, I see you. I get it. You're just like, how the hell can I do all this stuff when I got this badass child running around here? It's okay. Give yourself 5 to 10 minutes. You know, when they say, there's a lot of parents say, I just need 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes. Close the door, lay in bed, sit back, and just breathe. Sometimes it's all you need. Also, if you learn to model self-care, your kids will be a lot better, okay? They won't be running you up the wall. They'll be like, oh, mom needs her moment. I'm going to have this moment. So they see you doing it. You're also helping them regulate their nervous system while doing yours, while training a child in the way they should go, and they will model that for their kids. So you're kind of rewiring this intergenerational piece as it relates to how you show up and get the silence that you need. Find pockets for silence in the car. The car is a sanctuary sometimes, y'all. Like, listen, when I have my car and I'm in Memphis, I sit in the car for about 10 minutes just like, wow. And then it's not abandoning your family, it's showing up better for them. Quality over quantity. Better to be fully present after 10 minutes along than half present at all. So now we're moving to section 3, where we're talking about applying. And here are 5 ways to shift your mindset to embrace loneliness for your future self and mental health. So, number 1, write this down. Reframe loneliness as self-investment, not self-isolation. So, number 1, reframe loneliness as self-investment, not self-isolation. Every moment you spend in intentional solitude is depositing in your future self's emotional bank account. Self-care or small, consistent moments of self-solitude create exponential returns on mental clarity and emotional regulation. Ask yourself, what would your future self thank you for doing right now in the quiet moment? This is your quiet moment. Are you asking yourself? Just like you invest in your physical health, solitude is investing in your mental and emotional health. The better relationship you have with yourself in solitude, the better you show up in relationships with everyone else, whether it's personal, professional, or whatever space you're in. And number 2, transform fear-based thoughts into curiosity-based questions. So instead of running for what comes up inside as you sit in silence and you focus on this solitude, here are a few questions and things to think about. So we're going to shift from what if I'm weird to wanting to be alone to what is my inner wisdom trying to tell me? From I should be productive to what wants to emerge when I'm not performing. Shift from I'm wasting time, I'm not being productive enough, I'm not grinding enough or producing enough to what is this stillness teaching me about myself? Is my nervous system working overtime? Do I need to take more time in solitude? From I'm avoiding people to how is this solitude preparing me to show up more authentically? Difficult emotions that arise in solitude aren't problems to fix. They're information to be understood. Okay, so difficult emotions that arise in moments of solitude aren't things that need to be fixed. It's emotions and things and information to understand. If painful memories surface, approach them gentle. Remember the concept of nibble and gorge in your container. Like all these episodes, like build on top of each other. But if painful memories surface, approach them with gentle curiosity rather than immediate avoidance. So if you internalize this and you're sitting in silence, something comes up, your inner child wants to run and hide. You have to be able to show the inner child, your future self, and say, "Hey, you're not alone. You don't have to hide. You don't have to do this. This was who you were, but I'm going to give you grace. We're going to work through this together by nibbling, gorging on it, and we're going to be able to face this together." Number 3, practice future talk, visualization during solitude. So, spend time in solitude imagining your most healed, creative, and authentic self, that billion-dollar self. Okay? Picture yourself with emotional regulation, boundaries, and self trust that you've worked toward. For creatives, envision the artist you become when you're not creating from wounds or other people's expectations, when you're creating from a sense of wholeness because you have sat in solitude. Ask your future self what daily practice led to their transformation. Say, "Hey, how did you get to this place of being so authentic and not caring about everyone else?" Like, really think about it. How did you get there? Great. This is what I need to do now to get there. Okay, cool. Got it. How does the inner work you do in solitude today impact the next generation? Are you being the change you want to see in the world? Hmm? Are you being a Gandhi? No. Work on that. Great. And then let your future self guide your present decisions about boundaries, creativity, and relationships. Number 4, create solitude rituals that signal safety in your nervous system. So, some emotional cues can be same space, same time, same comforting elements. And I think this is kind of where hyperfixation is a positive, is a win. Like, if you know that this music, this place in your couch, this scent, these things, like really those senses, tapping into those things. I think we're gonna talk about that soon. And aligning those, just like all of your chakras are aligned. Like this solitude, this creates that space where you can connect beyond that seventh chakra and really get grounded to have the conversation with your future self. Start each solitude session with deep breathing, 478, or body awareness. Create a bridge between social time and alone time so your nervous system can shift gears. So that moment of transition, the moment from here to there, like that time period, that's where you can do the shift. Not you shifting from on to off, like, okay, let me, be this person, but it's just a shift from social to alone time, shedding some things. So these are some like safety anchors to consider, like have comfort items or practices ready if difficult things arise. For me, my therapist told me to have like a weighted blanket if I felt my anxiety creeping up. So I got one. It's in my bedroom, yeah. And in each solitude session, by acknowledging one thing you learned about yourself. Number 5, redefine productivity to inner work. So, shifting your understanding of what counts as productive time. Inner productivity, processing emotions, integrating experiences, and connecting with your authentic self is productive. Allowing ideas to marinate and breakthrough insights to emerge. And I have gotten better with this. Like when I took the break from season 1 to season 2, it was a long break. But I really wanted to make sure this was authentic and everything I shared with you, I came from a place of a lived experience. Like growing up, I was a lonely child. Okay. Like I have a brother, he's 6 years older than me. I have another brother who's 16 years older than me. But we were all in different spaces in our life. And sometimes my middle brother, he was just like, I want to play with my friends. Fine. I would be in the house. I would feel lonely. But through that loneliness, I was a smart ass kid. Okay. Well, smart, both books and sarcasm. Listen, that was a defense mechanism that's turned into a beautiful gift. However, I was lonely. I was like, I ain't got no friends and nobody want to hang out with me. God blocked it, baby, because some of them people that I wanted to be friends with, tuh. Anyway, Mental health productivity, building emotional regulation skills and self-awareness. Relationship productivity. The better you know yourself in solitude, the more authentic you'll be with others. This goes to my couples, okay? Some of y'all need to be single. Some of y'all need to sit in silence and think about, why am I always not making it past a year or 6 months or 3 weeks? Is it me? What am I showing? What baggage am I bringing that needs to be disposed of? Sit in silence. Spiritual productivity looks like connecting with your values and your purpose and deeper wisdom. And even rest as productivity, understanding that doing nothing is actually doing the deep work of restoration. Okay? So listen, loneliness is not your enemy. It is your invitation to come home to yourself. Silence is full of possibilities, not empty connection. Your worth belongs in your hands, not via your phone or someone else's opinion or a text message, but it is your right, your birthright. Okay. And your worth belongs in your hands, not other people's for approval. And solitude is a skill that gets stronger with practice. The person you become in solitude is the most authentic version of yourself. I think that should be a life goal. Like, how can I always show up as my authentic self, not who other people expect me to be, and realize the person you were at 8 or 12 or 21 is not the same person you are now. And if people can't respect the shift that has happened and want to look at you as if you are still that age, that's their problem. They need time. They need to sit in silence and find out how to adjust to who you are now. Yeah. Yeah. You've changed, sure, but they haven't. Yeah. Do with that what you want. But until next time, I hope that you gain something from this episode that will help you shift your aspect of loneliness and know that being alone is a gift. Being lonely is beautiful. And I haven't watched Tracy Ellis Ross's episode about, her series about like solo traveling, but she is the queen or the spokesperson when it comes to like being single and alone. But I didn't want this episode to be about like dating and loneliness. I wanted to just be about mental health and loneliness, and how sitting in silence is a gift that we tend to push to the side and save for later. Like, you're at a baby shower and you get gifts, and it's like, oh, I don't want to play with that one. Open that one first. Yeah, open that gift first. But anyway, until next time, be blessed, be gentle with yourself, and keep adjusting. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. I hope you take something away to help you make the adjustments you need. Before you go, please take a quick second to share this with someone you care about. And if you can, please leave a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. For more information about adjusting or to inquire about being a guest, head over to adjustingpod.com. Until next time.